Brought to you by Lister Pros TV, streaming from Tempe, Arizona. And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, Jordan Nielsen here, host of Real Estate Pros on Lister Pros TV, and today we are here in Tucson, beautiful Tucson, Arizona at Guild Mortgage, and right now we are with Terry Lang of Coldwell Banker. Welcome to Real Estate Pros, Terry.
Thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate that.
Yep. So first we'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself for those watching that may not know who you are. Give us a little bit of background on yourself. What got you into real estate? How long you've been in the business?
Okay, great. Well, prior to my real estate experience, I was a marketing and human resource professional. I used to live up in the San Francisco Bay Area as a high-tech corporate recruiter. And I did that for 8 years, had a great opportunity up there to work for a variety of different dynamic high-tech companies. And my significant other and I, after 8 successful years in recruiting, decided that we wanted a career change and a location change. So I have family and friends that live down in the Tucson area, and they said, well, why don't you come on down? It's a great place to live. And so we wanted a lifestyle that provided some flexibility and be able to run our own business and create new opportunities. So we thought real estate was the ideal type of new career for us. And we've loved it. We've been in real estate for the last 8 years. We've lived down in the Sahuarita, Green Valley market ever since, and so far we've enjoyed it.
Sahuarita is a nice little town out there. I've been there once. I did a triathlon in in the thing, probably something that the locals never swim in. Do they swim
in the lake?
In the lake, there's like a walking path around it. I remember people walking and
you
swimming.
can fish there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would necessarily swim in the lake, but you certainly can enjoy the lake and fish in the lake. Yeah. Sahuarita is a really fast-growing community. And we've seen a lot of changes in the last 8 years.
Yeah. Awesome. So 8 years in real estate. Prior to that, you were in marketing.
And in human resources.
Human resources. Did you grow up here in Tucson?
I did not. I'm actually from the Midwest originally. And but I have family and friends that live down here. My parents and my aunt and uncle live down here. They're snowbirds. And
Gotcha.
But we're all originally from the Michigan area. So, in fact, there's very few people in Tucson that are from Tucson, as far as I know. I've never met too many Tucsonans. Most people come from the Midwest or from other parts of the country, which really makes this place a unique place.
Get away from that super cold weather.
Absolutely.
We're enjoying it right now.
75 degrees today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful weather.
Hard to beat. So 8 years in the business. You said you came here. You started your real estate career here in Tucson, correct?
I did. Yeah.
Or Sahuarita.
Yeah.
But you didn't grow up here, so you didn't have a huge sphere of influence. We know that real estate's a big relationship-driven business. How are you able to survive the initial business, in real estate? Surviving
Absolutely.
it to that second.
And when
third,
I started
year.
Real estate, it was back in 2009, just when the market was going down. So,
right.
In retrospect, I don't think if I had to do it over again, I don't necessarily know I would start real estate back when the market was crashing. But fortunately, where we were, Green Valley is a retirement community, and Green Valley was somewhat insulated from a lot of the issues the real estate market was dealing with at that time. So it was most people, we didn't have a lot of short closures, we didn't have a lot of short sales at that time, and Green Valley still, that particular population needs to sell houses. So I just started out the basics. I worked every single day. I started out working at open houses. I started networking. I joined several different organizations. It's just really going back to the basics, pounding my neighborhood, knocking on doors.
So you did a lot. So you just named off a bunch of little activities that you did to kind of get it started when you didn't know, which they all pretty much just got you in front of more people. So that's got to be part of what helped you is to start building those relationships, doing the open houses, door knocking.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Real estate is a people focused, it's a customer focused industry, and so it's really about the relationship. And that's when I tell newer agents, what the key to being a successful real estate agent. It's about developing those relationships, because over the years now my business is all referral business. It's all repeat business because I spent the time all those early years developing important relationships and making sure that I maintain and stayed in contact with all those relationships over the years. And so now, 90% of my business is a referral base or a repeat business base.
So 90% of it. So I know before you were mentioning something about, working the area in which you live. So is that primarily where you work out of?
Right. I really believe that, you need to sort of become the local expert. Tucson metro market is huge. And I really decided to focus locally on my neighborhood, become the local real estate expert. So when my neighbors, my friends were looking to get guidance on their real estate needs, I was that expert. So I spent a lot of time networking within my own neighborhood, knocking on my own doors, and open houses primarily was where I built my initial business.
So when you're starting your real estate career, obviously you probably didn't have a lot of listings. What kind of open houses were you doing? Were you doing for other agents?
I looked at different agents that were successful and asked if they could do open houses. So,
right.
And that's how I started. And, from there, I was able to build a pretty solid listing business as well. So once you get out there, you're in front of people, you get to know the local neighborhood. I also, really learned the inventory. So I went out and I looked at all the houses, toured houses, so that when someone did have a question, I could provide some expertise with that.
So you mentioned 90% of your business is referral based, and it makes it sound like it's easy, but it's not, because you have to stay in contact with these people. You have to be top of mind when they're thinking real estate agents. So what are those things that you're doing now to be that number one or number two agent that somebody's thinking about in your area when selling?
Absolutely. And it's not just one of those things where you go out and you just call them once a year and say hello. So there's a variety of different things I do from a marketing point to that. Obviously, we meet up with them for dinner, drinks, and cocktails. I send out holiday cards. I have a magazine that I send out to all my more sphere of influence. So it's really important that you are touching your clients, I'd say every month, with some sort of communication, whether that's just a quick telephone call, a quick note in the mail, a quick email, or a little gift at the holidays. So we do something every month to make sure that we're connecting with all of our important clients.
So you mentioned something that I haven't really heard mentioned or very often, frequently, which is magazines to your spheres. I want to find out a little bit more about this because somebody an agent may be watching this and want to get into that or try to figure out a way to stay in front of their sphere. What does the magazine look like? What does the content look like?
Well, there's a lot of different types of magazines that real estate agents can take advantage of. The one that we do is a lifestyle magazine.
Okay.
So it comes out on a bi-monthly basis. Articles include things about food, hiking, travel, leisure, and it's marketed specifically to us. It's a piece that you would put on the coffee table, and it's branded with my information on it, so that when they have friends over for cocktails or a party and they inevitably talk about real estate, they can say, well, here's my real estate agent. They hand out this very nice, classy magazine. It has their information on it, and in fact, it has a couple cutouts in it so that if they wanted to take my information along to contact me later, that information's available. So it's a clever little tool to kind of keep your name top of mind when people are together with other folks.
Right. So is this going out to all your sphere? Is it like every person in the neighborhood kind of deal, or are you
No,
more
for this
intentional?
particular campaign, I'm using this specifically for people that have either bought or sold homes multiple times with me. People that have referred people multiple times to me, have bought and sold. So I would say more of your sphere of influence, people that you can count on, rely on, know that
Right.
are going to be, needing you for a real
So
estate.
those people that are heavy business generators for you to stay in front of it. How about networking in the neighborhood? Like you mentioned networking. Do you do any types of mailers for your neighborhood? Because I've seen those come in my mailbox often. Or what do you do to stay in front of your neighborhood of?
Correct. Yeah,
Green
there's
Valley.
a variety of different things I do. One is I have a website specific to my neighborhood that is specifically contented towards information about our neighborhood. So it has the latest real estate statistics. It has our particular neighborhood has new builds. We're still building out our community, so it has information relevant to someone's interested in building a new home. They can go there. So it's a one-shop, simple, content-based website that people can go to get anything they need to know about what's going on with the current real estate in our neighborhood. So that's one thing I do. I have listings, of course, in my neighborhood. So every time we have a marketing or a listing, I'll certainly send out a mailer or a mail piece letting people know that we have a new listing. And then when we sell a house, of course, we'll also send out mailers related to houses that are for sold as well.
You mentioned early on in your career to get your business going, you would do open houses. Is that something that you still do to date, or you don't focus so much on
No,
heavy
I
on-
absolutely love open houses.
Yeah?
I'd rather sit in an open house than sit in an office at an office. I mean, you could be at an open house doing the same thing you could be at an office, but the advantage of an open house is you have someone that could potentially come in and be your new customer. So.
Sure.
I think it's a great way to get exposure, get your name out there. You have your signs out on the streets. It's an excellent way to get yourself recognized throughout the community. And if you do it on a regular basis, it can really generate a lot of business for
So
you.
let's talk about best practices around open houses. What are some things that you could share that maybe you think in the back of your mind that helps an open house be more successful than just putting a sign out front and
Sure.
hoping that people come in?
Well, I think it takes a little thought and a little strategy behind it. So we usually plan our open houses 1 to 2 weeks in advance. So in advance of that, I'll start the advertising. So we'll do print advertising, but I also do social media advertising as well. So we'll advertise that as well as online. So we definitely do all the online, print, and social media advertising in advance. If it's a unique type of house, we might identify an opportunity for people to come in for. We might offer up cupcakes or water or some sort of something to entice people to come and check it out. So, sometimes we'll do it at different times. We'll do it when, if it's a house with a particularly great view, we might do it at sunset so that the view of the mountains can be seen and there's shadows on the mountains to give it another enhance. And we may offer drinks where people can come out and look at the view and so forth. So there's a lot of different things that we can do. Depending on the house, we'll set up a strategy specific to that house.
And in these best practices, you mentioned social media advertising. What are the most effective posts? Do you schedule an event? Do you do a page? What are those things that you do to help drive to your open house?
Well, fortunately, a lot of our neighborhoods have their own Facebook pages, and so I find that the most effective way to advertise on social media is to target the specific community Facebook pages. It seems that where a lot of people get their general information. So we've had a lot of success posting our open houses through the community pages.
So you post it on the community page itself, and they're fine with that, or?
Yes, you have to
Okay.
check with the
Gotcha.
administrators prior to that. But yes,
Gotcha.
they're usually pretty good about posting the community page, because the community page is about people trying to get information. People ask about recommendations on landscapers. They ask
Right.
recommendations on real estate agents. So if you're consistently, regularly posting on those, it's a good opportunity for you to get good exposure, and they recognize you as a local expert.
Right. And then people coming into your open house, I'm sure you're collecting some information. This is something I haven't ever asked anybody. Where where are they coming from usually? Is it like, oh, they see the signs? Oh, they saw your post on Facebook. Have you ever surveyed people coming into your open house to find out the source?
Well, yeah, and that's actually very interesting because in the community that I work in Green Valley, which is a retirement community, and I work in Sahuarita. So it really kind of depends on where I'm doing my open houses. So, and I do track that because I think it's important to keep matrix on where your leads come from and the sources that you get your information. So we do track that. So I do have a tally. And interestingly enough, in Green Valley, it's more of the traditional advertising that we're getting because of the simply because of the demographic. So I get a lot of traffic just simply because I'm out there on the street with an open house sign. That particular demographic is still very interested in driving around and looking at houses. Now, interestingly enough, though, if I go to Sahuarita, it's all online. So everyone there is getting that through Facebook or some other social media. So they rarely ever are driving around just to look at open houses. They've come here because they've seen it advertised on Facebook. So
that's interesting. So just definitely, you probably you need to have a pulse on the demographic of the neighborhood because that's an interesting point.
Absolutely. And it's interesting too because in my particular area I have two different marketing strategies just because of that. You know, there's Sahuarita, which is a growing group of homes, and then there's the retirement community, and you really have to have two separate marketing strategies because the demographics are different in both areas.
And what advice would you give to an agent that was starting brand new, fresh in 2018 to be able to find success fairly early in their? Obviously, you got into the market; it was kind of going down,
right?
But those things that you would recommend,
Right.
where people should start to find success.
It really depends. I get that question a lot because there's a lot of agents that come into our office, and now that I'm more of a veteran senior agent, I get that question a lot from the younger agents. And it's interesting because a lot of the younger agents come in and they are just excited. They want to try everything, do everything, be super successful. And in reality, I love the enthusiasm and the excitement about that. But I think success for me really was to simplify the process a little bit. It can be overwhelming to start in real estate. It's like, where do you start? You could start with open houses. You could start with social media. You need to build a website, what have you. And I think what you should do as a starting out agent is pick one or two things that you really like to do. Some people don't like to do open houses. Some like to do open houses. Some really like to work on Facebook. So find something that you're most interested in, good at, excited about, and become the expert in those specific areas. So start with two or three things that you think can really help you. Maybe you like walking the neighborhood and like knocking on doors and talking to people cold. That might be something. Maybe it's sitting at the front desk and waiting for a customer to come in to talk to a customer. So find some things, two or three things, and really get good at those one or two things before you really expand out on something else.
That's some solid advice for new agents. What is your favorite thing about living in Tucson? You've been here for 8 years now?
Yes, 8 years. I can't complain about the weather.
Yeah, the weather is great.
And the cost of living. I came from the San Francisco Bay Area, which is...
That's another big point.
Big point, yeah. So, very, very high cost of living. So, and there's just so many things to do here. So with the weather being as it is, you have so many opportunities to do things. So you can go hiking, you can go up to the Grand Canyon, you can travel. I mean, there's so many different things you can do here, and that's what I like about this.
Awesome. If somebody watching right now, they want to get a hold of you either to buy or sell a home or another agent just to ask you some questions, how do people go about getting a hold of you?
Sure. So you can go to my website, terrylangrealestate.com. You can also email me at terry@terrylangrealestate.com. And, of course, you can always call me. 520-306-8903.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking time out of your day today, Terry, to join me on Real Estate Pros. And we will see you guys on the next episode.
Thank you.